This is Lane Kawoka, host of the SimplePassiveCashflow.com podcast, and you are listening to Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future.
And now, a word from our sponsor, High-Rise Capital. High-Rise Capital is a boutique commercial real estate investment firm that helps high-income professionals, high-net-worth individuals, and family offices obtain above-average returns with reduced volatility and tax efficiency from high-quality commercial real estate investments. High-Rise Capital helps clients achieve meaningful investment returns, generate multiple streams of income, and participate in investments that enhance lives and provide a tangible societal benefit. To learn more about High-Rise Capital, please visit their website and download their free ebook, More Doors, More Profits, both of which you can find in the show notes. Thank you. Hey guys, hi Grandma. This is Adam Carswell, and welcome to Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. On Dream Chasers, we bring next level talent to the light. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's get straight to the interview. My name is Adam Carswell. Hi Grandma, and welcome to Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. On Dream Chasers, we bring next level talent to the light. And man, we're switching things up in the best way possible. If you notice the flow and the intro to this, if you are one of our avid listeners, is a little bit different. And the reason is because we are now doing this bad boy live from my Facebook group. So real quick, if you want to start getting in on the live action when we first record these in the Facebook group, you can go to facebook.com/groups/IX, as in the logo behind me, IX Carswell, and you'll never miss another Dream Chasers episode again that way. I'm joined today by Adam Lack and Jaden Johnson Jay of Cloudfire Capital. Fantastic backstory on this one and how we all got to know each other. And then also we're kind of running in the same circles before meeting each other. Before diving in, just want to give both Jaden and Adam an opportunity to kind of just say hello and get a little bit loose, a little bit comfortable here. So we'll start with well, how are we gonna do this? We'll start with the kid. We'll save the boss for last.
Okay, that's fair.
So Jaden, go ahead and kind of just, I guess, tell us where you tuned in from and what you're looking forward to talking about today.
So yeah, this is my first podcast and it's live. So thank you for that. You know, the nerves are real, but I like it. Put the pressure on. But yeah, I'm out of Pittsburgh right now. Going live at the conference table. I got my team right here. They're working. I'm excited to just talk about Cloudfire. I'm excited to talk about the entire blockchain ecosystem. We have a Clubhouse talk that we talk to we speak on a weekly basis, all of us, and it never disappoints. So I'm hoping that the same energy kind of comes with this. But I'm just excited. You lead the way, man, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Good stuff. And another thing too, I'm thinking about now for the first time is we can potentially have some live commentary as we're here doing our interview. So if you are with us here live, so we got a couple viewers, go ahead and type some comments or questions that you might have along the way in the chat box or the comment space. And now we'll hand it over to Adam Lack.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Thanks for having us on. Been diving into your podcast here, so good stuff. Very interesting, very educational, so very informative, I should say. But we're excited. We're excited. To dive in and kind of talk about, theories surrounding blockchain and Bitcoin and all things digital assets and kind of the ongoing changes, kind of digital transformation, I think that we're all seeing right now.
Absolutely. We are living, we mentioned this on the Clubhouse. So for anyone out there not familiar with Clubhouse, it's a relatively new app where you can congregate in large groups up to, I think I've seen even up to like 5,000 people when Elon Musk made his first debut on Clubhouse. So you can have these big, it's basically a virtual conference room with audio only, and you can see everyone's little avatars and faces, and it's kind of like in a stage format. So for example, last night, Adam and Jaden held one, and I was in it last week and this week as well, where you have the speakers kind of on the digital stage, and then you have the audience. And in the audience, you can raise your hand, come up, interact with the speakers, ask questions. And we were geeking out last night, going down these crypto and blockchain rabbit holes. And again, I think what I wanted to hammer home, which is what Adam just said, is that the world is changing rapidly. And I think there's never been a point in time where people didn't feel like everything was new and happening for the first time. But it really does feel like right now it's moving pretty quickly, and it's fun to be with guys like this who are kind of on the pioneer space of this this technological revolution we're seeing. So with that being said, let's kind of just, I guess, make it clear here who and what is Cloudfire Capital. And it's kind of it's like a vague question, but it's like it's really important. So let's go ahead and get it from Adam and then Jaden.
We're excited about it. I mean, we launched Cloudfire Capital about early to midway through of 2020. So I think the solidifying factor for us was when they started the money printing machines and started kind of, rolling out the stimulus as as relates to the ongoing pandemic and stuff. So that's when we decided to kind of pull the trigger and move forward. So we aggressively, created Cloudfire Capital, and then by extension, Cloudfire Capital maintains oversight of CFC Bitcoin Fund. So CFC Bitcoin Fund is an actively managed crypto asset hedge fund. We are heavily invested into Bitcoin. We also have discretion to invest in various other established digital assets. Right now, given the market sentiment, kind of the direction things are going, we are extremely Bitcoin heavy, but it's been great. We created the vehicle as a way for essentially traditional retail investors, as well as corporations and businesses, to invest either, some of their portfolio or some of their balance sheet into the Bitcoin space, and then kind of have that actively managed in order to mitigate risk associated. So it's been going phenomenally. We've been very fortunate with our capital raising enterprise, and we've just been crushing it the last few quarters. So it's been great, and we're excited moving forward for kind of what the rest of 2021 has in store for us. I'm sure that
okay.
I'm sure.
Go ahead. Sorry, I think I had a technical my internet.
Oh, you're good, man.
I think it was just a little blip, but yeah, go ahead, Jaden. Whatever you have to add.
Yeah. So right off of what Adam's saying, I think an important thing to understand about Cloudfire and CFC Bitcoin Fund and what we attempted to do, or what we're doing right now, is we're attacking the stigmas of the digital asset industry. Some of the issues that people have, may it be cybersecurity, volatility, and we've attacked those head on to try and actually utilize them to our advantage, because this is an industry that everyday retail investors need to be a part of. They need to be a part of this technological and financial revolution. And we're here to be that safeguard for them and to be the experts that they'll need in the early stages of this industry and of this market. Because like we talked about in our clubhouse yesterday, there's a lot of what ifs, there's a lot of potential issues. We're attacking those head on because of the fact that we've sacrificed our entire lives. This is what we do. This is our profession. And this is an industry to which we don't think that people that aren't willing to put in, a large portion of their time should be going deep into. It's just the way that it is right now. It's unpredictable. It's, it's sharky waters. So we want to be that for people. And then even for the people that aren't qualified to invest, we want to provide education and awareness. That's another huge aspect of what we do. And it's why we're doing this podcast. It's why we do our podcast, social media. We just want to be a voice of this technological revolution, like you said, Adam.
Yeah. And man, I'm happy you addressed that about the stigmas too. I really want to talk about that here in a moment. But before I forget, we've mentioned the clubhouse a lot too, and I know we'll get contact information and whatnot at the end of the interview, but we might as well just get it out here too real quick as well. So if anyone wants to join this clubhouse session that we keep talking about, yes. What time is it? And then also how do they get plugged in? How can they be a part of that room on a weekly basis?
So we've been doing them on Tuesday evenings. We just moved it to 8 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday evenings. So that's what we did last night. We'll probably stick with that moving forward. Obviously, I believe Clubhouse is still invite only, iPhone only. Is that right, Adam?
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. So anybody who needs, I mean, we have invites. If you need an invite to Clubhouse, reach out. I'm sure Adam has them as well. Jaden and I have them. So if anybody, wants an invite to Clubhouse, so you can download the app and get on, it is invite only. It'll come in the form of a text message, and then it kind of links with your phone. The app does. So anybody who wants, reach out to one of us. But yeah, every Tuesday evening about 8 p.m., we've been kind of taking a deep dive, like Adam said, into all things blockchain, Bitcoin, the ongoing digital transformation, all of this stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And so, man, a few things here. I'm trying to figure out how I want to formulate this. I'm going to go back to what Jaden said about attacking stigmas, because I think that it's perfect timing for Cloudfire Capital to kind of come into existence. Actually, real quick, when were you guys officially founded? Was it last spring?
Yeah. It was essentially spring of 2020. So right after kind of, we started, the mess started unraveling, that we're currently in. So April, May of 2020.
Yeah. And I think it's important because I remember as a Bitcoin enthusiast or even evangelist, you might say, back in 2017, you couldn't, as much as I love the technology and what it could do for not only myself, but just, people around me, the world, and kind of eliminating the authority that banks have just had for the longest time. I was all in on it and still am. But I just remember there's no way in 2017 we could be having this interview and people wouldn't be looking at us like we're just absolutely insane. And
Right.
it's pretty cool now that it's kind of become like a household phrase. You can say Bitcoin and people don't instantly think you're like trying to be a scam artist or something like that.
Yeah.
Which and the reason why that stuff like that does happen is because I think if you look at the inception of the internet, or like anything great, when it goes through that like first stage, it's always speculative, it's always volatile. There's more scammers because it's not as regulated. So people have the right reasons to think that. But it's just nice to have gotten to a place now where you can confidently attack the stigmas. And then if someone wants to cross-check you, they can actually just think that you're making it up, and just go Google it, and you'll see even like, some of these top media platforms are also saying, hey, Bitcoin is good. So happy for that. And I also just want to throw this in here too, before we forget to give him credit. Jim Morales, who's in the Next Level Mastermind, is the one who connected us. And Jim, we won't publicize it too much, but he is a CFO for a very influential thought leader in the real estate space, probably top 5 marketers that are just out there, especially in North America right now. And so when Jim introduces me to someone, which actually I think this is the first time he's ever made an introduction, I'm at a place now where I'm like, all right, he knows good people.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jim.
Yeah, he's one of our favorite people.
Yeah, Jim's awesome, for sure.
Yeah. And so, I know that was a lot there. It's kind of just summarizing what you guys were sharing, but was there anything coming to mind based on some of that feedback I was just giving?
I mean, I think, Jaden, you can jump in whenever. I think we knew right from the get-go that part of this plan that we had was going to have to entail the education of the masses. And I think, we have encountered that. We see that a lot. Part of what we do is kind of educating people on, why is it beneficial to add Bitcoin to an investment portfolio? What are the pros and what are the cons, and what are the benefits of adding it, like, as a hedge against inflation, or the potential for inflation, as a hedge against the potential for currency debasement. I mean, 1/5 of all money in circulation in the US, or more than, has come into circulation over the past 12 months. That's a big chunk. That's a lot. It's unprecedented. And so I think we still don't know, what the consequences of that are going to be over the next year, 2 years, 3 years. And as we move forward, and there's kind of the growing sentiment that we're going to see maybe some ongoing sustained inflation. You would think that with like we just discussed, with the rapid technological innovation that's occurring right now and probably over the next decade, you would think that would kind of take some of that inflationary pressure off. But again, since it's such an unprecedented situation, I don't think any economist or even the Federal Reserve for that matter can definitively state this is what we're going to see moving forward and this is what we can expect. I think it's just going to be kind of a day by day thing.
Anything on that, Jaden?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's with innovation comes vulnerability, and that's a quote from our third partner, Joseph, who's working alongside me right now. It's such a good quote, and the reason why, you know, we feel that way is because of the fact that you see some of these speculative bubbles formed because of a lack of understanding the intrinsic value, the long-term potential of what's driving these assets, blockchain technology, which we'll dive into. But the answer, I'm getting a little feedback.
You're good on our end.
Are we good? Are we good?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you know,
good.
the answer to destroying that or to reducing it is with explanation, with understanding, with being able to explain to people, like we talked about yesterday, at the most simplistic or in the most simplistic way, what blockchain is, being able to explain it to them at their level. This is how people are going to understand that when a price of Bitcoin goes down, you know, $1,000, that it's not the end of the world, that it's only just a short-term thing, and that blockchain will sustain, and that the top projects in this world or in this ecosystem are going to be around in 10 to 15 years. It's such an important thing to discuss. And, you know, I love that we're one of the first, especially in this industry, because, you know, the digital asset hedge fund space, it's not a common thing. You know, we're pioneers in this version of an investment vehicle. And we have a fiduciary responsibility, not just as investors, but as experts and as figures in this space. But the answer to kind of destroying some of that is going to be with people understanding that this is just the next generation of internet, it's the next generation of monetary system, and it's completely natural for things like this to occur.
Right. And you guys are catering to retail investors, but I mean, also, I mean, you know, you look at who you're working with right now, high net worth clients. And I think high net worth clients, for the most part, are also used to creating and preserving and generating wealth in a very traditional manner. So I'm sure, you know, someone who's ready to invest with you guys is just scratching their head. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like you probably have a lot of head scratchers. And what's like the one or two things that you found you've been able to communicate where it's like, oh, at that point the light bulb goes off for your clients, and then they're like, here you go.
Yeah, I think, just to kind of extrapolate on that. So we, you know, it was super important to us to cater to retail investors and kind of integrate this ecosystem and this investment space with traditional investing. So obviously there's a lot of technical aspects to ensuring that you're doing it safely and securely and over the long term and maximizing your returns. But we also cater to businesses, smaller businesses, corporations who want to diversify their balance sheet or their reserve capital and put it into something to try and avoid what they believe is coming down the road here. So we've kind of branched out, you know, and then we also maintain custody of all of our own capital and assets. So we do not outsource like our custody solution. Our custody solution, our cold storage for our digital assets is proprietary. You know, we have a high-level cybersecurity partner who's partnered with the firm. They maintain oversight of our cold storage and our security. And that's like A1 priority for us, obviously, is, you know, the security of the assets and capital and information that we manage. So yeah, we cater to retail investors, we cater to businesses and corporations, tax advantage plan holders, although we're kind of throttling back on that a little bit because there's just been so much interest coming from the IRA space. You know, it's like we want it to even out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we run into that issue all the time where you're trying to explain and it's maybe, you know, half a dozen or a dozen meetings in, and finally you say something and someone's like, oh, you know, I kind of see. And I think a lot of the institutional involvement, you know, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent over the past 12 to 18 months has really kind of flipped that switch for a lot of people. Like, oh, if I see some of these larger institutions, if I see Goldman Sachs or I see JP Morgan or I see NYDIG if I see them coming into the space, then it must be okay for me to do, and I think that's kind of, we even had a guy who came in, he said, I was on the fence, and he's actually a pretty heavy investor. He said, I was on the fence, and then the Motley Fool said, you need to add Bitcoin to your portfolio, and that was it for him. He was like, that's all I needed to hear, I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's a great quote. And I think, I know Jaden's ready to go on this one too, but it's amazing the influence of celebrities. Celebrities getting into this space is also helping tremendously.
Yeah.
Jaden.
I think, basically to go off what Adam said, it really is a challenge for us as managers of this asset class. You really have to connect with the specific client contingent on their background and what they can understand. There's so many different use cases for blockchain. So it can be done. You can connect with specific LP, specific client, understanding their background, doing a little deep dive into what they've done in their career, because we're talking to so many different people from so many different backgrounds and areas and workforces that, it's a challenge, but the more that you do it and the more that you understand that blockchain is so much bigger than just one or two lanes, it becomes a lot easier to make people understand exactly what it is going to be for society moving forward.
Yeah, and so we got a question coming in from the audience. Bear with me because it looks like it might be a little bit of a two-part question from my buddy Jeff McCowan out of I believe the Detroit, Michigan area. Jeff says, with being into digital assets, you guys are only looking into digital currency like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., or are you looking into other NFTs or digital assets? Specifically, I'm thinking about the very new and popular digital sports trading cards, such as NBA Top Shots and blockchain cards from sports card manufacturers such as Panini. So I think really that, the first question is, are you looking into anything outside of the traditional digital currencies right now, NFTs or other digital assets?
Yeah, I think that's a good question for Jaden. We're always researching and exploring kind of the different options associated with, blockchain technology, whether that be NFTs, new digital currency projects, new blockchain projects, infrastructure projects. I know we talked the other night, one of our discussions about, the tokenization of real estate investing and kind of how, I think we were all on the same page that we're going to kind of see that become the future of investing regardless of the space. But Jaden's really our guy. He takes deep dives into a lot of these newer projects or more obscure projects and kind of, gives us a little bit of a synopsis on his thought on them. So that's, I'll let him kind of answer that. But yeah, we're always exploring. With the fund that we currently operate, we do have discretion to kind of expand that out a little bit within reason. But with this specific fund, we're not partaking in anything like NFTs or the trading cards, the up and coming Top Shots or anything like that. But go ahead, Jaden.
An important thing for people to understand, excuse me, about our approach at Cloudfire, especially for CFC Bitcoin Fund, the first fund, is that we're looking at the foundation. We're looking at the blockchain networks. So we do have the discretion to be able to invest into a theta if that came time. And we wanted to invest into the actual protocol itself. We're not looking at individual items. We're looking at large companies. We're looking at whole entire teams that are setting up industries and setting up markets. We want to be in on the foundation, because everything after that, I believe in it, but there's a lot of speculation in regards to what card's going to be still valuable in 10 years, what app's going to be. We're looking at the entire foundation, like comparable to like what YouTube was around 15 years ago. Instead of investing into something smaller than that, you would invest into a YouTube, you would invest into an eBay, these entire ecosystems that are being built off of these protocols. That's what we're interested in right now. But no, we have to learn a lot more about it. And we know that. I think everyone has to learn more about it before they can actually make a truly estimated, accurate investment. You know what I mean? And that's why we caution people to have discussions and talk about it before you start putting your money in a space that still has a long time to progress. But we believe in the concept and it will be around. But, we're looking at the entire protocol and foundation of these markets.
Yeah, and I think one thing to highlight here too, for example, you can say as myself as an investor in cryptocurrencies, I've done a lot of it hands-on. I have a really good friend of mine who I work with closely, and we just have a blast with it. And he helps me. He's kind of like my Jaden Adam. I'm focused on, my other ventures working with Hunter and Michael, who you've met. Is like, hey, Johnny, go take care of this. But I guess what I'm getting at is one thing that you guys really help with. I kind of see you in a version as like my friend Johnny, who I just referenced. You're kind of like my Johnny. So you're helping the people who are trying to move from the traditional space to this new space. So that way they don't have to go in there and learn it all themselves and get their hands dirty. They can just be like, boom, I trust these guys. I'll save myself time by just trusting them instead of trying to figure out how to create a Coinbase, scan my passport, two-factor authentication, like all that stuff. That's really the true value in Cloudfire is what I'm seeing. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's a lot of the value. That and the active management / risk mitigation. Obviously with our high level security protocol and cold storage methods. I mean, that's always important, especially when you're maintaining custody of a larger amount of assets. But in addition to that, the active management, I think people kind of underestimate how important that is. I mean, if you were to invest in a traditional trust vehicle or just the actual underlying asset, unless you're really monitoring that space and really monitoring the charts and kind of preparing yourself for, okay, these are the potential scenarios that could play out here, and this is how I'm going to handle it. This is how I'm going to exit my positions. This is how I'm going to move my positions. That could be potentially problematic. I think over the last few months, we've seen this massive rise in value of a lot of these cryptocurrencies, but the market's not always like that. Just like the traditional stock markets don't go straight up. There's always retractions and corrections, and we try to anticipate that as much as anybody reasonably can. So I think that's an important aspect of it as well.
Yeah, good stuff. I've got something to shift gears here in a second, but I know, Jaden, did you have any follow-up on that?
I just wanted to say just a quick statement. As you know, being in the space since 2017, the bull runs are much more aggressive and much bigger than the traditional markets or traditional equities, but the bear markets are as well. And that's something that people have to understand if they're just getting involved in this space now, that it's aggressive and it could hurt you. And if you're not prepared, if you don't have the exit strategies, if you're not actively managed, if you don't understand kind of what's driving these prices, because there's a lot of things that drive these specific networks, it could be a dangerous place to be in. And that's something where we have a lot of pride, and that's a major value proposition for us.
And I just want to throw this out there too. I think it's funny. The best exit strategy for Bitcoin, guys, don't exit. Just hold on to it.
Yeah.
Hold on to it.
That's a good idea. Dollar cost averaging in and, just kind of building your portfolio is never a bad idea, I think, in this space for sure.
And that's me. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a tax planner. I'm not Cloudfire Capital. That's my 2 cents. I've seen, and I'm sure these guys can relate. Like, you hear the stories of the people in 2010 who paid 200 Bitcoin for a pizza, and now they'd be, borderline trillionaires.
God bless that guy, man. I pray for that guy.
Well, I think we said as well, when Tesla came out a week or two ago and said, we'll now accept Bitcoin for Tesla. I think, in 10 years, do we look back and say, wow, somebody paid an entire Bitcoin for one Tesla? I think it's very possible.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm with you on that. So I wanted to just, I guess, shed some light and show some love to who we are and where we're from. So these guys are in Western PA right now, Pittsburgh to be specific. And, I grew up in Cleveland, but I went to Westminster College, which is right outside of Jaden's hometown, Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Nothing like going to Sheets at 3 a.m. on Saturday. You know what I'm talking about.
Wow, man. Wow.
Oh yeah.
I'll
never forget my buddy. I'll give a quick shout out to my friend Connor Kovas. I'll never forget. Again, it was a 2, 3, 4 a.m. drive to Sheets on a Saturday. And he's like, man, seeing those sheets lights over the horizons, like pulling up to Vegas. Like,
if Adam could see what we're talking about, he would be cracking up, because it's basically
Yeah.
just land, straight land and farm, and then you see sheets and you know everything is
Right.
better.
It's like the same thing in Indiana, PA. You have the massive sheets, and at 4 a.m. it's out the door. People getting MTOs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to I guess talk Western PA a little bit. So Adam, you guys are in the, and Jaden, you guys are in the Pittsburgh area. Jaden, I know you mentioned you came up to Westminster to watch a few football games too, so I'm sure we got some mutual friends out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I guess kind of just tell us what it's been like pursuing this venture. And quite frankly, I'd say an area like Cleveland or where you guys are at, there's not a whole lot of people from what I could see thinking this way yet either. It's more like the big cities, or traditionally big cities. So what's it been like starting something with Bitcoin in PA?
Yeah, that we felt like we discussed that obviously at length when we were structuring, our firm and our investment vehicle, and we think there's room there for improvement on the innovative front, especially when you're talking blockchain technology and the advancement of maybe a more equitable future monetary system, especially given what we've kind of gone through over the past 12 months globally. So we felt like that kind of gave us a little bit of a competitive edge given where we were geographically located. However, that said, there are some very forward-thinking businesses in this area. There are some very forward-thinking universities in this area. So we've had the opportunity to kind of engage them on various capacities, and that's been great. It's been a good experience, and we've met some great people. But yeah, there is a little bit of that stigma, especially and whether it's retail investors or corporate investors in the area, kind of, I don't know if this is for me yet. I think they will find, and many people will find, as the months turn into years here, that it is kind of for everybody, and Bitcoin is probably going to start eating into the market cap of gold and some of these other old school investments. And I think we're probably going to see a further transition in this investment space. So it's both been great and good. I wouldn't say anything bad, of course, but it's been good, and we've gotten to really work with and meet a lot of people. And again, I feel like we have a real good competitive advantage, being located where we are right now.
Love it. And yeah, that's the other thing too about the time we're living in, and I'm sure Jaden, this will probably spark a few other ideas in your head before your response, but it's becoming a little bit less important where you're located now too, because you can just do everything like this. Like I'm in Newfoundland right now. We're excited for some future travels here coming up soon, but like you can really do a lot from almost anywhere in the world now too. Yeah,
absolutely. And I know you said you and I were talking, and you were talking about interns, and even an internship moving forward. I mean, you would think many of those will be done virtually. They'll be done where there is no actual physical office to report to, and people are kind of reporting virtually and doing everything digitally. And again, I guess if you miss, I always enjoyed physical offices. That was,
I don't think anything beats face to face, quite frankly.
Right.
I'm with you on that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But younger generation, I think is more and more accustomed to kind of digital and virtual, and I think we can make a lot of stuff work now. So I think it's good from that perspective.
All right, Jaden, what do you got for us?
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to mention, and this goes for Pittsburgh and Cleveland as well, both of those cities, and I'll speak actually frankly on Pittsburgh specifically. We have the universities, we have the incredible minds, we have Pitt, we have CMU, we have some infrastructure, some accelerator programs, some VCs, but the big issue that's happening here, and this is coming from Paul Graham, who founded Y Combinator from Pittsburgh, which is the biggest accelerator program in the world. he wasn't able to build infrastructure in Pittsburgh when he was coming up because there just wasn't enough. But his vision for Pittsburgh, and this has become, our vision as well, is to provide infrastructure and build out companies that are forward thinking, that will keep these minds that are in Pittsburgh right now in a dorm room in Pittsburgh. And obviously, like, expansion is necessary. I'm sure we won't solely be in Pittsburgh, but there has to be more. There has to be more here for these minds to stay. And that will be such an economic boom for our city if we can just retain 35%, 40% of these minds that are here. And being the first of our kind, there were a few other potential digital asset kind of funds that were here, but the one that, how we're structured, I should say, we're the first of our kind using human capital. And we want to kind of push that movement forward, this innovative technology, this innovative industry. And we want to collaborate with CMU. We want to collaborate with Pitt. We want the minds to stay here and build out the city that they love, because, we all love where we're from.
CMU is a great school too. And in regards to Cleveland, comparatively speaking, Case Western Reserve would be the
Exactly.
yin and the yang there. And another thing that's very forward thinking right now that I'm really excited about is, Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns getting back in front and dominating the Steelers for the next 10 years. So you guys are really excited for that.
Listen, me and Adam, we are too deep into it. We'll take it. We'll take it. I actually like the Browns, to be honest. I cheer for Baker. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, yeah. People get mad about that around here, but
they do.
But I mean, again, being definitely raised a Cleveland fan for everything growing up, and then spending 4 years in Steeler Nation, it was either I was going to come out loving the Browns more, or just absolutely, or becoming a Steelers fan, or absolutely hating the Steelers even more. Hate's a strong word, but you got to love the rivalry. So this past playoff season was something that I've literally been waiting for my whole life. So here we go. We'll see what happens.
I'm happy for you, man. That's awesome.
Right. And actually, that's like the one thing that kind of sucks about it, is like, even Pittsburgh fans like, oh, we're happy for you guys. It's like, no, you're supposed to be mad at us. You're supposed to hate us.
Well, when they just felt bad all those years.
Right. Well, what kills me is to know that the Ravens team that went to go on and win 2 Super Bowls used to be the Browns before, I
remember watching that.
Everyone forgets that too. So
while you're on the topic of sports leagues, we've actually engaged some various participants in those leagues about converting partial salary or some of their salary over to Bitcoin related investments. And I would be a big proponent of that. I mean, obviously, I think when you're stepping into these larger contracts and larger salaries, if you want to truly retain wealth and look into the future, and we're talking, these are younger guys. These are guys that are, doing well now, and they're healthy now, and they're getting these massive contracts and massive salaries right now. But you have to look down the line, and you have to kind of look at history and say, what's that taught us about retaining our wealth and building our wealth and ensuring that we're kind of covered down the line. And so we've been, fairly recently started engaging some athletes on that, and it's been good. And I think, I think as we kind of expand into that world, it'll be mutually beneficial, because I think there's huge potential for allocating some traditional fiat salary into a Bitcoin related investment to kind of protect yourself against what is potentially coming over the next few years.
Yeah, and that just reminded me too. I'll just get this out here before I forget. If you guys, I'll send you an interview I did with a firm that works with professional athletes, investing their capital in safe and smart investments, so that way, when they retire, they don't end up on the ESPN 30 for 30.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
And I think that's, man, if you could be investing in Bitcoin with like a multi-million-dollar salary nowadays, that'd be cool if I was in that position. Right?
You got to zoom out and look at big picture, right? And I always try to tell this to people, like, we're in April of 2021. Is this current run we're on done? Probably not. Most likely not. We're going to continue moving up over the next. There's so much money on the sidelines right now. There's, Americans have higher capital in their savings account than ever before. So when this money starts to make its way into the economy as we reopen, and it starts to make its way into the traditional markets and the alternative markets, we're going to see another run up, probably in the very near future. But if you zoom out, look at the big picture, Bitcoin halves again. It has its supply halving again in 2024, and then we'll kind of most likely enter into this cycle all over again. And each time we're kind of blowing away our previous all-time highs. So it's likely that it's going to keep running up over the next decade, and it's going to be significant when it does.
Love it. We'll start winding it down here, but Jaden, I know I can feel. I'm like, I know Jaden's got some comments in here he wants to get in. So before we do the official shutdown, what were your thoughts on what Adam was saying?
I just wanted to mention that, these professional athletes are such a huge part of pop culture, which pop culture is such a giant part of our economy, and they need to be guided in the right direction. I feel like they've been done wrong for a very long time. They've been guided in very different paths than they should have been. And they need to be taught that financial literacy aspect to their day-to-day. They have to understand that, this isn't going to be forever, that they can utilize these times to be able to profit long-term in the future. And digital assets is something that should definitely be introduced to them because it has the most asymmetric upside, and they deserve it. They work hard. They're a huge part. I mean, all of our childhoods, we all had the professional athlete, they were heroes to us. And some of them, aren't feeling like that anymore. And that definitely is something that, Cloudfire Capital and CFC Bitcoin Fund will attack that head on as well. And we'll hopefully be able to help a lot of people in that world.
Yeah. And I think it's perfect timing, because I do believe you see it more and more athletes are starting to, everyone's seen that broke 30 for 30. Like that was actually probably a very instrumental film to be made. And when light bulbs started coming on for a lot of guys. Yeah. So good stuff.
Sad.
Yeah. Sad, but good now, right?
I agree. I agree.
Good.
Yeah.
Learn from it.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and again, make sure we just get you guys information here. Website, email. I mean, what's your preference? How do you want people to reach out to you if they want to collaborate or ask any questions?
Yeah, I'll let Jaden kind of give out our social medias. Our website is just cloudfirecapital.com. You can reach us through that website. Our appropriate email addresses are listed on there. There's an actual submission form that you can submit, or you can email us if you have any investment related questions or inquiries. It's just invest@cloudfirecapital.com. And then obviously we're on Clubhouse. Again, anybody needs an invite, me, Adam, or Jaden can oblige. And then Jaden, our social medias that you maintain oversight of are?
Yes. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, search Cloudfire Capital, exactly how it's spelled, no underscores, no nothing. And then on Twitter, it's Cloudfire Cap, because Twitter didn't allow us to spell out the entire thing. And then also our YouTube as well, Cloudfire Capital. So Cloudfire Capital for everything. Twitter, Cloudfire Cap. I'm being told something. Oh yes, okay. Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well for our podcast, Cloudfire Capital. So very easy, very simple. Come check us out. We're definitely updating it on a daily basis because we want to provide awareness and education in this space.
Yeah, guys, definitely go check out their podcast. I was checking it out. They're very consistent. Again, taking a complex idea or information for most of the world right now and simplifying it so that way everyone, even your grandma, can start investing in Bitcoin. And then Jeffrey, our buddy who's been listening along with us here, he did say Russell Okung, football offensive tackle, just accepted his salary bonus in Bitcoin. Very big development. He received half of his $13 million salary in Bitcoin. And that is the stuff that we're talking about, because that goes right with the Tesla thing, that goes with the pizza thing. When this guy, 10 years from now, it's going to be like what he took 6.5 million in Bitcoin. He could just, like, who knows what that will calculate to.
It's going to be on the opposite end.
Yeah, and that propelled him up to be what, the third or fourth highest paid in the NFL, I believe. So
that's before six-figure range. So
yeah, so the returns already bumped him up to one of the highest paid in the NFL.
As
Just
an offensive
absolutely
tackle.
I mean,
Yeah.
just one of the best in financial decisions I think probably anybody's ever seen, so.
Yeah. So there you go. And I do feel as though, him doing that and people paving the way, eventually it probably will get to a point where it's not quite as significant of a investment, but that time is not anytime soon from what we're talking about and what we're seeing. So if anyone, you guys, if you can ever get paid in Bitcoin, right now is the time to get paid in Bitcoin. And as we kind of been saying here, probably for, the foreseeable future, that's going to be a great option as far as just generating and maintaining wealth. So cool. So yeah, podcast, we got the website, we got everything. Awesome. Just make sure we check the list here. So with all that being said, Adam and Jaden, any parting words for our listeners and our audience? We'll start with this time. We'll start with Adam, and then we'll close with Jaden.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, like you just said, financial literacy. We're huge proponents of making a plan, structuring a plan, sticking to it, not being afraid of something that may be a little bit volatile. We're still in price discovery mode. This is a new asset class. Everything that's kind of going on is healthy from what we're seeing. Don't get your financial pointers from mainstream media or anything like that. You kind of got to make a plan. Everybody has different priorities and everybody has different goals. So you have to make a plan kind of according to what works for you and what your short and longer term goals are. And, if anybody has any questions, don't be afraid to reach out. I mean, we like to engage with different people. Like Jaden said earlier, even if right now we're currently open to accredited investors, but don't let that stop you from reaching out, touching base, asking questions. I mean, we're here to help educate and kind of move this industry along. And, that's really the main goal. If we can kind of educate a few people and get a few people into a better position, whether that's financially, whether that's just with information, then, what we did was successful. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Jaden.
We're living at the beginning stage of the largest transfer of wealth in recent history. This is something that everyone can capitalize off of. This is something that everyone can tell their grandkids that they did and they took part of. This is going to make careers. This is going to create wealth. There's not really much more to say, educate yourself, understand what's happening right now in society and in technology, and then see how blockchain is going to kind of drive that. And yeah, reach out to us. We're open for conversation. We want to provide awareness and we want to provide opportunity.
There we go, guys. Thank you. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, was Cloudfire Capital, Jaden Johnson and Adam Lack. They just gave their information there. But again, if you go to the show notes or the comments, you can follow up with them there. And remember, as I mentioned, that Clubhouse every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be in there as frequently as possible as well. Another big thank you to our good friend Jim Morales, fellow member of the Next Level Mastermind. And here we go. Let's bring it home. Thank you for tuning in. This is Dream Chasers Interviews with the Future. I'm your host, Adam J. Carswell. And guys, remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.